Join me as I build the AIRFIX Blenheim IV right here on Gary's Stuff. Hi there, I'm Gary. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today I am building the Bristol Blenheim IV in 1/72 scale from AIRFIX. Now, if you've already got one of these kits, want to know how to put it together, you're in the right place. If, however, you're just thinking of getting one, want to know what you get in the box, maybe want to know about the history of the aircraft and what other kits are available, videos of those are already on my channel. Now remember, if you enjoy the show, and I really hope you do, please give it the imperial thumbs up on the like button below. If you haven't done so yet, please do subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to be notified of all my future videos as they turn up. And of course, if you would like to support the channel in any more concrete way, you can do that through Super Thanks, by becoming a channel member, or through any of my online partner programs. Okay, well, enough of all of that. Let's make a start and see how I made this AIRFIX 1/72 scale Bristol Blenheim IV. So here we are, let's start another adventure. And unusually, we're not starting with the cockpit. We're starting with the main structure of the wing. Now here we have the rear spar. There's a sort of raised bit right in the middle here. This fits on the back here. And then the spar sort of slots into the wing. Now what I suggest we do is put one side in at a time and get that tacked in and set first, and then do the other side. Because there's this fits the dihedral here, I think you really need to make sure that they're in place properly. Okay, now the gear mountings go in. Now the back of the mounting has a tab which fits into this hole here, and on the side of the mounting just here you can see there's a tiny little notch. But on this side, they go on the outside, so the notch fits in the top bit here, and then this base part of the notch sort of slots in here. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so can you see there the little side tab fits into the hole, this sort of cutaway in there, and it's the opposite side obviously has the tab on the outside to fit on the outside part there. Just do the same for both sides of the wings. Okay, and when that's set, we put the front spar on. Again, this little hump in the front goes up against this here, and these, I guess these are hydraulic tanks or oil tanks or something, sit inside between the legs of the undercarriage. And again, we'll just do one side at a time to make sure everything's sitting just right with that dihedral. And when that's all set, we can spray the whole thing interior green, including the inside of the flaps if you're going to have them open. Do the same, you also spray the inside of the cockpit, the rear cockpit sections. So here, we're going to spray these up as well, and there's we need to join the two halves together, and there's the rear sort of section of the bomb bay needs to go in as well. But we'll have a look at that in a minute. But the first thing to do is to make sure the interior is a nice interior green. Now before the wings go together, in the bottom of each half of the wing, or each side of the wing, is a small pair of holes we need to cut out. I think these are for the fuel drains, emergency fuel dump chutes. Anyway, 0.8mm holes, one on each, or two on each wing, like this. On the other wing, as well as the two holes to the fuel dump. There's another hole here. This is for one of the radio aerials, and I am building it with the Yagi aerials. So this goes in. If you're having this kit with the wheels down, you're going to want, before you join the wings paths together, there's the closed undercarriage door that fits in here. There's the main undercarriage leg, a sort of two-part leg that fits in, and the wheel itself, because the wheel sort of sticks out underneath here slightly when it's retracted. Do that before the wing halves go together. However, I'm doing mine with the undercarriage down, so I leave that alone for the moment. So now the two wing halves can slot together, and we'll just go around making sure they're all connected up and tape it up and run glue around all the edges. With the fuselage halves, if you're going to put bomb racks on, you need to drill holes at the ends of these channels. The channels rather than pins, because if they're pinholes here, when you molded them, there would have to be a part of the mold in that hole, and then you wouldn't be able to take it off. So they put the guide holes in and then just make channels all the way through so that the part will come off the mold. There's also holes here and here. This is if you're putting the aircraft on a stand in flight with a stow. With wheels up or down don't really matter, but if you want to use the AIRFIX stands, you cut these holes out. I'm doing neither, so that's fine. What I do need to do is put in this part here, like so, and then I can join the two halves of the fuselage together. Right, so whilst the wings are setting, we're going to start on the cockpit at last. So first I'm going to put this support onto the back of the pilot's seat here. Next we're going to put the seat onto its supports, and you can see there's these two tiny holes here, and there's these two pins on the seat support. Those go into those holes, and then the other side sits on top. Okay, so it ends up looking like this, with the seat attached here. There's this part that touches at the back, this part connects at the front here, and then the seat mountings sit inside these frames as well. And we'll just let that frame settle down and sit nicely. Now onto the side of this assembly for the pilot's seat goes this little panel here. I'm going to guess there's some trim and maybe, I don't know whether that's a height adjustment bomb doors or what that is. I don't know, flaps, who knows. Someone will know. That goes on the side like this. And the control column can go in here. So then when it's all set up, the pilot's seat just sort of clips over the back and then fits into a couple of channels on the bulkhead there. Making the navigator bomb aim seat is relatively easy because it's a very small seat. So the chair base support, seat support if you like, goes on to this fairly rudimentary back. Then when that's set, the little chair thing seat can go in on there, but let's wait till this dries first. Then the seat, you can see there's these two little pegs. It's not very good focusing. These two little pegs sit in these two little holes here. So there we go, that's the crew compartment ready built. So what we'll do is we'll just spray that up, put in the leather work and the black where needed, bit dry brushing, and that will be ready. And next I'm going to put in this, which is the navigator's table. I'm putting this in slightly out of schedule because I think it works better this way. But by all means, follow the AIRFIX carefully researched and worked out way of doing it as well, which either way works. If we've got that in first, then I think it's easier to align these pieces and then just push up very gently. There we go, just there. So it clips into the slot there, and then just make sure it all sits together. I just find that way of doing it slightly easier, but you can by all means join these two together first, then put them into the kit. Yeah, it's just personal choice. And on the other side of the fuselage is this little bench that I presume the navigator bomb aimer crouches down on or lies down on to do his bomb aiming stuff. So now I'm going to let both of these sides dry and the cockpit we made earlier, and then we'll spray them all up with interior green, pick out some details in black where we have to, where it looks good, do a bit of panel washing in there as well. Then it will be ready for the transparencies, and then it can all go together. When you've got the painting done on each one, there's a part of the glass fits in like so. There's a small window here that clips into like this, and then the plastic fits around there. And what you must remember on this side is to put the instrument decals in before you put anything else in, and that anything else is going to be the pilot's seat, like so. When that's cured, you can put the other half of the nose into place, like so, and then glue it all up. When the two halves have glued together properly, you can install the bomb aimer's window at the bottom here. Now, I'm going to leave the top section until I've joined the fuselage on. The reason is the fuselage will naturally just spread these two. See these two bits here? They'll just naturally spread them to the right distance. Then the top part of the canopy should just sit down nicely. Then we can start to assemble the wing and fuselage together. The wing, it just clips in over the top like this, and you can just wiggle these around so they line up a bit better. Get those sitting where you want them to sit, and then put some glue in. And then when you're happy with that, you can put the front fuselage in here. Might need a bit of a jiggle to get it into place. Right, so that goes in there. I mean, it's not the greatest of fits, I have to say, at the moment, but we'll make it work. And while I'm waiting for the nose to dry, I'll get on and make the tailplane. The elevators slot into the back of the tailplane. Then the whole lot slots into the back of the fin, like so. And the rudder sits straight into the back of the fin, like so. The ailerons go into the wings, just like so. And then finally, if the modelling gods are smiling on you and everything's gone well enough, you can just sit the top part of the transparency onto the rest and just tack it on with some PVA glue or something like that. Okay, next we're going to start putting these engines together. The inlet pipes come in onto the front of the engine mounting like this. Then the cylinders sit on top like this. The exhaust fit into the bottom part of this shroud here, like this. The exhaust now goes onto the bottom of the engine mount. You can see there's like 3 tabs here and there's 3 tabs here. So they just sort of sit on top. So. Then the other 2 segments go into place like that. This then sits in here. There you go, like this. Yeah, like that. So with the exhaust at the bottom, there's a support arm that goes straight up. And the last piece on for the moment is the collector ring, the exhaust collector ring here. Now there will be 2 small, I don't know what they are, I guess they're carb intake horns, something like that. 2 that fit in, they push right down there and stick out slightly. But I'm not going to do those just yet. I'm going to glue this up, paint this aluminium, and then when it's dry, I can block this off and this can go on the plane to be painted up. Then, when I take all of that off, I can put those inlet horns in later. So, just build the same on the other side. Now, because this is the night fighter, I'm doing the fighter version, doing the night fighter version specifically, the bomb bay is covered up, and before you put this piece on, make sure you drill the holes for the gun pack to go on. There's a pack of 4.303 guns that goes underneath there. So drill out the holes, then put this piece on to cover the bomb bays. Okay, so now we're going to put the barrels in, the gun barrels in for the gun pack. The back of them points upwards like that. There's a reason for that. What you find is when you put the gun barrels in first, they just go in like that. The hole is, and you're thinking that is not right. That can't be how they go in. But because of that kink, if you keep pushing it through, eventually the kink settles in and the gun barrels are flat. How about that? There, and the gun pack can go into place on the base of the aircraft. Finally, for the moment, I'm going to put the engines on the front of the nacelles. As you can see, I've also masked the cockpit area canopy. I've blanked off where the dorsal turret goes because I'm painting that separately. That's all masked off. So I can leave this to set and then I can start painting. What I'm going to do is panel line washing now. Obviously, normally I'd use the black, but this is black. So what we do is use a stone grey, and that fills the lines. So let's see how that goes. Right, so after years of being told by various people to paint the collector rings here in various forms of bronze, antique bronze and so on and so forth, and visiting museums and whatever, and noticing that it's all just actually iron, generally speaking, I figured out what happens is that iron when it gets hot, gets like quite rusty. You can get a bit burnt, a bit pitted. Just look at exhausts really. So what I now do is I paint the collector ring here in a burnt iron or gunmetal, but burnt iron. Then I just get some rust weathering powder, just dab a bit on this old used stubby brush, and just dust rust into the iron, the burnt iron, and it gives you that antique-y look, but without actually being shiny, metally, antique-y bronze, which I think is about the right tone, and it takes seconds. Now you can, this is a medium rust, you can obviously put a lighter rust or darker rust, whatever you like on, but I think it's very, very convincing. Now with all these bits of engine done, I can put in the inlet pipes. I think they're inlet pipes. I think they're inlet manifold pipes or something. Yeah, that's what they are. There's two of them anyway. And they sit just like that. And then the propellers can go on. So then these really annoying little constant speed unit things for the front of the props can go on. And we can start putting in all the sort of bits and pieces on the underside of the aircraft, like these. This air inlet here. Fuel dump pipe goes in here. And then there's a Yagi aerial that goes in here. I'm going to start putting the turret together now. I'm going to put the glass of the turret on before I put the guns in. I just want this to settle in properly and be right before I go ahead and put the guns on. There we go, so that sits like that. And we're just going to let that dry a while before I try putting the guns inside it. Okay, I'm going to put the undercarriage in now. The main leg goes in front of that spar, on the front edge of the spar, and there's some little tabs that it connects with. There we go, like that. Okay, and we'll just put some glue in there to hold them in place. Okay, so I hope you can see that these legs here connect up with the these support legs that we put in right at the very beginning of the undercarriage structure, way back when we start putting the wing together. Okay, so you can see how the bottom of this assembly sits on that little ledge on the frame, and then it should, and then the top connects with various points like that on the undercarriage as it goes on the backs. I'll put a little dabs of glue on there because it'll help me connect up properly.
Okay, so here we go to try it again. They should stick on, they should actually stick a bit better now. Then those legs go up to the back of these blocks here, and here. So that's how they sit. Perfect. When it's dried, I'll give those a coat of black. Now, on the undercarriage door, you can see here there are 3 slots, and there are 3 tabs, one here, one here, and one here, that sits against. So it's just a case of lining them up and putting them on. Like that. I'm putting the flaps in next, and you can see these tabs here. These are used to set the flaps in down position. If you're just going to put the flaps in, A, you don't need to paint them obviously on the inside, but B, you do need to cut these tabs off. But I'm going to use them because I'm having the flaps down and the tabs sit in like so, and they also give you the angle the flap should be at. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just drop the turret into the back. You notice I still haven't put the guns in. I'm not going to put the guns in till the right at the very last minute. So that's the turret sort of sat down. This is the retracted turret, by the way. There's 2. There's a turret that sits up, and there's a retracted turret, and this is a retracted turret. So what I need to do now is put the guns onto these 2 plinths here. Last go round again, making sure all the last little aerials and small decals and last bits of paint are touched up, and we're done. Do you know what? It went together surprisingly well. I was expecting a lot more hassle with the nose than I got. I was expecting a lot more hassle, full stop, actually, because the kit is designed to also be for the Mark 1. So the whole nose section is different. You know, you would normally just have one molded fuselage, but it comes in parts. It wasn't a perfect fit, but it was very, very close, and yeah, I got away with it, I think. Everything else is fine. Plenty of all the aerials that I needed are there. The detailing looks pretty good. It's not desperately deep, the panel lining, so you can get a fairly subtle result. Yeah, I enjoyed making it. Would I make another one? Yeah, I would. I'd make the Coastal Command one, obviously, because I've done a Night Fighter one now. But I'm very happy with this, and I'm sure you would be too. And so there it is. Apart from the occasional fiddly stuff, undercarriage a little fiddly, not the end of the world, but just a little bit fiddly. Lots of aerials if you're doing the Night Fighter version or the Yagi aerials. Again, not that much. In order to make the basic kit able to be the Mark IV and the Mark I, this whole front area is a separate unit to the rest. Has that made a difference? Not really. There's one tiny drawing line I can see here on the bottom. The rest of it actually went together really well. One thing I would definitely say is dry fit all the time on this. I could only get a decent fit on this by dry fitting it, trying it a few times, making sure things were nicely aligned, nicely cleaned up off the frame, and then they all went together. I found them really very, very straightforward, I must admit. Now, if you've enjoyed the video, and I really hope you have, please do remember, give it the Imperial thumbs up on the like button below, because every like counts. And if you haven't done so yet, please do subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and you'll be notified of all my future videos as they come out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again very soon. Goodbye now.